Okay, so we did the intro. Jay is a consultant at Advice Inc. That we have 3 interesting facts about him that you may not know from any bio or LinkedIn page. One, this one's really interesting. He taught Michael Keaton's son how to hit a curveball. 2, he's a closeted fan of Mariah Carey's music. 3, he saved a pigeon that was stuck inside of a freshie while conducting an interview. Wow. Okay, please help me welcome Jay Chaney.
Don't try to follow me on that handle. It's not real. I just made it up. I don't have a Twitter handle. All right, let's do this. So that is me. That's my title. Let's talk about my fuck up. And it's funny, I laughed when I got asked to do this because there's so many, and it actually took me quite a while to figure out which one I wanted to talk about. So I kind of actually circled back to Miami Ad School, and about 6 months ago, somebody asked me what my biggest failure was, and what do I consider a failure? And so I said, well, it's a tough question. I mean, I have a lot of them, but the one I always consider a failure is when I'm failed to sell an idea. And last week was Cannes Creativity Festival, and that notion was actually kind of rubbed in my face in a very big way with this campaign, which was the Broadway play for Skittles. We had an idea similar a year before for a very big Canadian brand, I won't tell you which one, and we couldn't sell it. We got it to the finish line, and it died right at the finish line. This won 14 Lions, so I joked with Peter, who's a friend of mine, and said we won negative 14 Lions because we didn't sell it. So it doesn't matter. But my fuck up is actually around that notion. It's an idea that I didn't sell. And I would say the idea didn't sell mostly because of me. I'd say actually 95% because of me. The other 5% I'll blame on Craig McIntosh. If anybody you know, and if you know him, you'll know why. So I've had the luxury when I was working at Cassette with working some of the top creative talents, right? Peter, Carlos, James, and Craig, crazy people, insane people, but incredible talents and amazing human beings. And we were on a tear. Like, we couldn't lose a pitch. There was an idea we couldn't sell. We were doing amazing work. We were winning awards. Everything was working in our favor, right? So what could go wrong? Well, everything can go wrong, especially when you put me in the room. So there was one campaign in particular that had just done really well for us in Nature Valley. We did a campaign called 3 Generations. And I think it got like 50 million views worldwide. Wired magazine covered it. Fast Company covered it. People were debating, yelling at each other. But it increased sales. I think it was like 15 baseline points. So crazy for a CPG brand that had been suffering for quite some time. Awesome. So the next brief was, do it again, do it better. So we had to get crazier. And here's a bunch of people that were like super stuck on their ego now. They hadn't failed in a long time. And it was time things were going to implode. And I was going to make it happen. So we were briefed with this idea, and we came with this awesome notion, right? The whole purpose for Nature Valley was to get kids outside. So we had to figure out an angle that would get people riled up. And we found that angle. And that angle was that you're actually more likely to take your dog outside than you are your kids. And that was actually backed by a stat that said dogs, I think, got like 10 times more outdoor play than kids do. But because we are who we are, we couldn't just leave well enough alone and just leave that stat and bring it out to people and let them play with it. We actually wanted to create a campaign where we actually replaced dogs with kids. So we try to sell this idea where effectively the parents come home, they walk through the door, they're strolling in, and they're like, Rex, come here, Rex. And of course you think it's a dog, but Rex is a little boy. The father grabs the leash, sticks it on his neck, is going to walk him outside. It's an amazing idea. By the way, this would have worked. And who said it didn't get made? You just didn't see it. But anyway, so of course, and this is where Craig comes in on the 5%, you know, we're selling this idea to the client. We're totally into it. We love this idea. It's totally going to work. Client's going to love it. They're in love with us, no problems. And Craig and James, if any of you know them, and I know a lot of you aren't in advertising, but if you are, you know them, they don't just present. They act out their scripts, especially Craig. And so Craig has to push it to the nth degree. So the kids aren't just going out on leash with the dad, and they're not just walking down the street. but they're also urinating on fire hydrants. The parents have to pick up their poop in the yard. They're sniffing each other's butts. Like, he's just pushing it to the furthest regions of acceptability. And he explains, of course, after the fact, of course none of this is going to happen. But we've embedded this amazing notion in the client's mind, and now they can't get the sniffing of kids' butts, of other kids, out of their heads. So aggressive campaign, now we made it even worse. So that's Craig, that's not even me. That's not where I've fucked up. So the clients were almost there. But something exciting happened. This gentleman kind of raised his hand and said he was super interested in the script. He loved it. Like, we were shopping it. We were so convinced this was going to sell that we were already shopping the script. And if you don't know who this guy is, it's Christopher Guest, who produced Best in Show. So I don't know if you've seen Best in Show. Amazing show about kind of like the dog culture of dog competitions. Anyway, an amazing, world-renowned director. He wanted in. He loved the script. He thought it was hilarious. So now we're super sold. We're ready to go. But, oops, hey-o. The client wasn't so sure. That's Michael C. Hall, that's not the client. He's starting the Skittles out. I'm still sore about that. But anyway, the client wasn't so sure. Like, they were kind of like hemming and hawing. I don't know, man. Like, sticking a kid on a leash, I don't know if I feel that. And we're like, come on, like, you have to trust us, right? There's no other logic, but you have to trust us. Client's hemming and hawing. I'm going away to Vancouver next week. I'll think about it. Awesome. Think about it. I'm going to save the team. This is where I come. This is where I start fucking up. So I'm not just going to let the client think about it. I'm going to provide irrefutable proof that this is going to work. So I take $10,000 out of my own personal budget, and I do research on this ad that hasn't even been produced. Consumer-facing research, script and all. Here, have at it. See what you think. So the client had questions around whether people would accept it, whether they'd like it. And so I was like, I need to prove it. I feel it. I've never felt anything like this in my life. I know this is going to work. I'm going to put my own money behind it. I don't care. It's going to work, and I'm going to ram it down his throat. He's retired now, by the way, and I will not mention his name, but he laughs at this all the time. So I commissioned this research, and the research comes back, and it's overwhelmingly positive. Probably the best research I've ever received, like response I've ever received. Consumers love the idea, and yes, they'll buy more Nature Valley granola bars because of it. Amazing. Take it to the account person, take it to the creative people. I'm super stoked. Creators are super happy. I'm saving the day. Client's totally going to buy this. Account person says, wait a minute. He's coming back from vacation. Do not introduce this in the first meeting. He doesn't know you did it. You didn't ask for permission. Just hang on. We don't know what he's going to say. So, ooh, you can't even see that. That is Derek Zoolander walking down the runway. I walked in super confident. It's like, I have this. You know, I'm going to be the hero of the world. We're going to get this through, no problem. And yeah, Wendy, don't worry. I won't bring up the research. We're gonna sell this through, and then I'll slide the research in afterwards, just to save the day. Everybody walks in super confident, super comfortable. And what's that saying about, you know, best laid plans? Well, there's one thing we didn't anticipate. And the thing we didn't anticipate was grandma. You never anticipate grandma. Grandma comes out of nowhere for some reason. On vacation, our client shopped the idea to his family at a family gathering. Grandma did not understand the idea. She thought it was disgusting. The client enacted Craig's actions of peeing on the hydrant. It did not work with grandma. In the case of one person, it did not work. And so as I sat there and listened to grandma's response to our amazing creative idea that's going to work no matter what, and Christopher Guest is going to produce it, and this is all go wonderful, I decided in my infinite wisdom not to listen to Wendy. And this is the moment I really fucked up. And the second grandma came out of his mouth, I was like, you know, we did research. And this research proves, without doubt, that this is going to work. It's the best ad ever. This is going to sell Nature Valley granola bars. We have this. This is Tommy Boy I'm probably aging myself. It's an amazing scene. Go see it on How to Kill a Sale. Anyway, Chris Farley. He's not with us anymore. Again, I'm old. But I bring this out. The room goes dead silent. The creatives are like, oh shit, yeah, this is amazing. Like, you just undercut the client. That's like completely awesome. Client stared at me. Wendy stared at me. And that's when all hell broke loose. Within 2 seconds, the meeting was over. The idea was killed. I was to never bring it up again. The agency was never to bring it up again. It was over. We're done. It doesn't end there. Wendy, who's been a friend of mine for years, I've worked with her at multiple agencies. We get along so well until this very moment. She would not talk to me for a week. Wendy still talks to me now. She's probably texting me in a second. But she wouldn't talk to me for a week. So every day for a week, I'd leave a little gift, and I'd laugh. But I couldn't break her. She was pissed off at me. And so I let everybody down. You know, in my heroic effort, I came in, I was going to save the day, and I just fucking annihilated the whole thing. And so what did I learn in this process? Because there was no, like, recovery. You know, there is no campaign. You didn't see the kids on leashes anywhere. And if it happens, I know all you people are here. I will find you and hunt you down. Or if you can sell it, awesome, go for it. What did I learn? Well, I learned a few things. I think the first thing is that no matter what you know or what you think you know, it will never be enough to replace the feelings of a client or a person you're trying to sell an idea to. That's one. Two, you can annihilate a great idea with one comment, with one ill-thought action, and by leading with emotion rather than logic. The third is that a great account person is indispensable, and you should listen to them always. I had to learn that one this way. I had never learned, 20-something years of career, I didn't learn it until that moment. And the final piece that I learned is that nobody puts grandma in the corner.
That was amazing. I'm really happy to hear that she got her way. Grandma won
You're
at
happy?
the end of the day.
I don't know if I can help you guys anymore.
It's a grandma.
Grandma, right.
You can't beat grandma. So we're going to open it up for a few questions now. Does anyone have a question? Kwanzaa.
Uh-oh. This is going to be a tough one. Okay.
It's not. In retrospect, do you think that it was a mistake maybe to commission that research in the first place, since you couldn't really use it, even if it was good?
No, in retrospect, I don't think it was a mistake commissioning the research for a couple reasons. One, it validated our instincts, and I think at least at minimum, we would have learned something out of that process that, about our instincts. The other side of it is I think it's more about the timing of the release of that information more than the information itself. So I think the information, had I had executed properly, would have actually helped. But further down once we got them into a place where they were actually comfortable with the idea, then I think that research would have come in and actually sealed the deal for us. But they had to be in a positive place where they liked the idea and were kind of on the idea before we could do that.
Next question. How nervous were you going into your next meeting with an idea and with something to say to your team members following this
I would say more aware, not nervous. Yeah, I just don't get nervous. It's honestly, it's like I joke. It's like a privilege to do this job. We get to make crap up and like play, and we're selling granola bars, not saving lives, so I'm not really worried about it. And I'm always there just to do the best for the client, so I kind of keep that front and center. Sometimes my actions get in the way of the ability to make that happen, but yeah, there was no nerves. I think it was more just like I was probably more careful in my approach the next time around. Yeah.
At the back over there.
How would you say your percent chance of winning that would be if you
Probably pretty high. I think like it would have been a slower sell probably. And again, I think Tommy Boy is a perfect reference because I think we just like really wanted it to close at that moment. And I think if we just let it breathe a bit longer and work the channels a bit more, because we have one other case in the same kind of client where we had a similar situation, but it actually worked out quite positively for both us and the client. And we just kind of were a little bit more patient with it. No, it was just, I think it was ego more than anything. To be frank, like to be 100% honest, I think it was just us buying into our stuff too much, and yeah. Yeah. If it proved that it wasn't correct? Oh, it's a good question. I kind of look at consumer research in a different way than a lot of people do, I think. And so we would have learned from it and made adjustments, but I don't think we would have killed the idea because there's a lot of things that in testing would tell you that it doesn't work and it works. And many times the stuff that actually says it doesn't work in testing is actually really good work. And stuff that works, yeah, stuff that works in testing doesn't work because they're in a lab and they're just answering the wrong questions for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, last one.
Without forcing you to disclose too much information,
Yep.
I'm just wondering, what do you do to kind of develop a good price for your clients and
It's a good question. I don't really handle those things. So to be honest, I'm not trying to hide anything. I don't deal with that. Like as a strategist, I'm kind of like outside of the money conversations. Yeah, I just do. Yeah.
We have one more question from a volunteer, so we'll take it
All
due
right.
to their hard work.
Thanks. Hey.
Hey.
I work also in an agency. My question is, you said earlier that in order for a client to buy an idea, you have to put them in the right place.
Yes.
Could you explain a little bit more? If I understand right, it's like explaining the rationale behind
Yeah,
an
sure.
idea.
Yeah.
Do you have some type of methodology or a tip?
Yeah, so there's amazing research that suggests that most clients will tell you they want a creative solution, but true creativity has no basis for comparison or for proof, right? And so the kind of the folly of our industry is that everybody says they want creativity, but clients particularly are predisposed not to want to buy creative. And that's for a lot of reasons, but risk is probably the greatest one, which is I have to prove to somebody else internally and sell it internally. So the method that we've found works best, and I'll use like say Sick Kids as an example, is you have to understand all the people within the organization, all the people that they report into, and isolate any potential risks and kind of preempt any of the risks with both information and arm that individual with the right materials to go in and carry that idea forward. Because once you present to the client, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's where the idea stops. Sometimes it carries up through the organization to even a board level sometimes. And so you have to arm that person with enough where they feel 100% confident to put themselves on the line for that idea. And so when that person's comfortable, I think that's one. Two is this kind of acquired trust over time. So if you've delivered for that person and for that company, it's a lot easier for sure. And then the other, I think, is patience. I think it's just, working the steps appropriately, ensuring that everybody within the agency who are all critical to the success of an idea, creative strategy and account people are doing their jobs properly. And if any one of those people aren't, then the thing could potentially implode. So just making sure everybody's on point, doing the right things, and arming people with the right information, and understand the client's kind of emotional state and risk state as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.